Hello, welcome to my channel. It was just another regular evening. The kind where the house sinks into silence, and the world outside seems to pause. The clock had just ticked past 10:30 p.m. My wife was already asleep in the next room, and I had finally gotten a moment to breathe. Parenting is no easy task. The weight of responsibility hangs on you like a coat soaked in rain. Bills to pay, groceries to buy, deadlines to meet. And in the middle of all that, you're trying to be the kind of father your kid can look up to. I sat on the edge of my bed, rubbing my tired eyes, replaying the stress of the day. I didn't expect anything unusual. I just wanted rest. But that night would become one I'd never forget. The shadow at the door. Just as I reached to turn off the lamp beside me, I noticed something strange in the hallway. A small, still shadow stood just outside my door. It was him. My son. He wasn't crying. He wasn't even speaking. Just standing there, clutching his stuffed tiger with both hands, his eyes searching mine for something. Perhaps permission, perhaps comfort. "Hey buddy," I whispered, sitting up straighter. "You okay?" He stepped inside slowly. No shoes. No words. Just bare feet on the wooden floor and a face full of thoughts. "Can I sleep here tonight?" he asked. I was surprised. He hadn't done this in years. "Of course," I said, moving over. He crawled under the covers, holding the stuffed animal close. What came next took me completely off guard. The midnight whisper. After a few minutes of silence, while I thought he had fallen asleep, he turned to me and whispered, "Dad, do you still love me? Even when I mess up?" My heart cracked right open. This wasn't just about wanting to sleep next to me. He was carrying something. A weight. A question that had built up in his little heart. I turned to him gently, brushing the hair from his forehead. "What happened? Why would you think that?" He took a breath, holding back tears. "Today, I broke Mom's mug. The one with the flowers. She got really mad. And then I spilled juice on the couch. I heard her say, 'Sometimes I don't know what to do with him.'" I sighed. Not out of frustration, but because I realized this little boy had absorbed so much more than we thought. A father's reassurance. I pulled him closer. "Listen to me," I said. "No matter what you do, no matter how big the mess, I will always love you. We all make mistakes. That's how we grow." He nodded slowly, eyes still wet. "Even if I spill something tomorrow?" I chuckled. "Even if you flood the house?" He let out a soft laugh. That was the moment I knew he needed less discipline and more understanding. He wasn't asking for permission to misbehave. He was asking for reassurance that mistakes didn't define his worth. That night, I held my son like I hadn't in years. What kids remember. 11 to 1400 hours. We often assume children don't notice much. But they do. They see the tension in our eyes, the frustration in our voices, the disappointment we try to mask. And they internalize it. They begin to question themselves. They wonder, am I enough? Am I lovable? Would Dad still hug me if he knew I messed up? That night taught me that kids don't need perfect parents. They need present ones. Ones who speak gently, especially when it's hardest to. Ones who correct, but never withhold affection. The morning after. I woke up the next morning to find my son still asleep, curled up next to me, his tiny arm draped over my chest. There was peace in his expression. When he finally woke up, he looked at me and said, "Thanks, Dad." That was it. No need for lectures. No need for long discussions. Just presence. Just love. I made him breakfast that morning. Sat with him a little longer before school. And from that day on, I chose to be a little more patient. Not just with him, but with myself. A message for every parent. Parenting isn't about controlling every move. It's about guiding gently, leading by example, and being a safe place for our kids to land. We won't always get it right. But the little moments, like a child tiptoeing into your room, seeking comfort, are the ones that change everything. They remind us that parenting is not about perfection. It's about connection. So tonight before bed, hug your kids a little tighter. Let them know they're loved, especially when they mess up. Because those are the moments that stick with them. And with us. Forever. Closing thought. Years from now, he may not remember the spilled juice or the broken mug, but he will remember crawling into my bed that night, full of fear and doubt, and leaving with love. He'll remember that when he questioned his worth, I didn't lecture him. I held him. That's the story I want him to carry forward. That's the man I hope he becomes. And maybe one day, when his child stands in the hallway holding a stuffed animal, he'll make room in his bed too. Because love, when passed down, doesn't shrink. It multiplies.